to the Breakroom. We got a second substantive Blue Beetle trailer just released. What does everybody think about this new trailer?
I mean, finally something I'm passionate about. It's Blue Beetle. What's not to love about him? He's a beetle. He's blue.
Okay.
He doesn't sing. And I gotta be honest, I didn't know much about this character before the first trailer. I still don't feel like I know a ton about him, but I know they got George Lopez and a long Billy Goat beard. They got Sarandon looking fine as F, approaching 80 years old.
No, is she that old?
Don't out
And
her
to my
age.
knowledge, she's 92.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
listen,
gosh.
listen to me. I like it. I think it looks good.
Let's talk about the things we got in this trailer that we did not get in the first Blue Beetle trailer. As we'd mentioned, a little bit more Susan Sarandon's character.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did we see her in the first trailer? I don't think we
heard her
Oh, maybe
voice.
heard her voice.
Well, and she's definitely more menacing and villainous in this trailer.
Right.
She's
Yeah.
Victoria Cord. She shouts, "Aim for the family" or "Target the family" or something insane like
Villain
that.
dialogue ready.
Yeah. She's ready to be villainous.
She's got a henchman on each arm at one point.
Yeah.
One's Harvey Guillen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of the henchmen.
He's so funny.
Yeah, you were saying she's
Ted Cord's sister. And Ted Cord is the second Blue Beetle. There's one
In the comics,
OG Blue Beetle. Ted Cord is the second Blue Beetle that's kind of like the Booster Gold buddy cop.
Because he could never
Blue
get
Beetle.
the scarab to work, right?
And he had all the money. Like
Yeah,
Ted
yeah.
Cord's the guy with like billions, and him and Booster Gold were homies. So I'm really curious if that's the tie-in to the Superman Legacy DCU, because James Gunn has said that this is the beginning of the DCU as far as a character, but Superman's the first DCU movie. So I'm wondering if that character has anything to do with the DCU going forward, because historically that's the Blue Beetle that I think of as a Justice League member.
Right.
So I'm really curious if Victoria Cord is like, pushing away from the family because of her like, Justice-y brother, and she's the other side. So having her in the trailer is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I was wondering if they were going to retcon it as she's his mother, and then that's the Jason where we got the Jason Sudeikis rumor, and like in the post-credit scene, he's like, "I'm getting my suit back," and we have a Ted Cord Breaking Bad.
We definitely don't know. We just know her name, and the Cord Industries does seem a
He's
bit
like-
more Oscorp-y, ominous than I think of it as being.
I mean, speaking of like Oscorp, Marvel, not DC, but like we do in that shot where we see the city, we see like Ace Chemicals has a building, LexCorp has a building. It's a different LexCorp logo than the DCEU.
Yep.
I'm wondering, if this is the DCU,
What the Metropolis looks like, or whatever his town is. I don't think it's Metropolis.
Is
but
this
like,
also where our Flash wound back up when he came back from the events of the Flash movie? And
that'll depend on the box
he
office.
runs into George Clooney as the Batman there, not Ben Affleck as Batman. Is this the world we're in now? Is this the same? Is this where the Flash and that Aquaman we met at the end of that Flash movie?
I honestly
Is this
don't
where
know
they be?
how
Are they just in a
audiences-
pocket universe somewhere?
Yeah, I don't know how audiences will do with some people remaining in that
Right.
way, because I think James Gunn has said there's no more The Suicide Squads. There's no more, but we are getting another Peacemaker. But I feel
Right.
like that Peacemaker, since he has so much control over it, might end that as well.
Yeah.
And so
I mean,
can see
Amanda
them just
Waller's
like,
probably going to be around somewhere.
yeah, she has a show.
She's got a
They
show.
announced. So it's really tricky what stays and what goes. But I
Yeah.
don't know if something like Flash would be.
And I
folded in.
think Gunn's playing a little fast and loose with it, in that he's saying like we're gonna have a main DCU, but there's also gonna be
Because the Batman-
Oddworld, and
Elseworlds.
Offworlds,
Yeah,
and
Elseworlds, like the Batman and Joker.
Right, right.
And audiences have seemed to understand that, like, without... I can't unread comics. I can't know what it's like to
Unread them. You read them backwards is
what's
how
a
you do
comic?
it.
Like a manga.
Like
but,
Hebrew.
But I can't not know what Elseworlds are. So I'm really curious how audiences with Joker and the Batman do with having another Batman out there.
Yeah.
But it seems like people can keep track.
Will we see Blue Beetle?
Did I
fight-
break you that hard?
Yeah.
You broke me down.
I was trying to power
You read it right to left. It's backwards.
But it's not backwards. It's just that's the way it works.
I think it was the phrasing that touched
It was
us all.
beautiful. I was like, I
Not
gotta finish
this
this
week,
sentence. I got
okay?
this.
It's not this week, okay? We can't get into it
Things
this
are
week.
dark enough.
Things are dark. I do want to see the Blue Beetle fight Todd Phillips' Joker. That's all I want to see.
It hasn't.
He just cuts him in half.
Just slices him right now.
Hasn't this movie has mostly been sold on the premise of it is for the most part, standalone movie. Even before James Gunn was brought on board, because obviously this movie was all the
already in
production, was way before that decision was made. And it was gonna be kind of like an origin story, like a separate thing, maybe like a first Shazam movie or whatever, without the burden of needing to tie in to the rest of the universe. Outside of maybe a post-credit scene or a brief cameo or something like that.
And there's still an Aquaman 2 to be made.
That's the weird
It's been
thing
done
is-
for 3 years.
I know.
Please put it out in theaters.
But that's
Jason
the-
Momoa
that is-
deserves this movie
It's
to come
just
out.
such a strange timing.
It's such a weird thing to be like, here is the Blue Beetle, our first DCU character.
Yeah.
And in a few months, Aquaman. Don't ask any questions about him.
And then wait a year, and then we got new stuff.
Yeah,
That's
then we
But
got new
remember,
stuff.
it's a year. But also the Batman too.
Don't you think that of all the DC movies that came out this year, Black Adam, Flash, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman, and sorry, was Black Adam last year?
Technically, yes, last year.
Sorry,
yes.
but of this big batch of DC films that have dropped in the last 18 months, right? Isn't there a world where actually Blue Beetle has the potential, take away like the best, but like maybe to perform the best? It is the one that feels the most standalone, not relying
Right.
on either older films
Right.
or future films.
And it's
right?
something digestibly new, not unlike Black Adam, which I feel like was this thing that was like a familiar old like comic book character, but new in the sense of like, oh, The Rock is bringing him in as this anti-hero, and he's like shaping it around a weirdly non-Shazam related thing, even though they wear the same costume. They're like deliberately not like tying those two worlds together. Whereas
It's
Blue
almost
Beetle
like
is,
making a standalone Kraven the Hunter movie.
yeah,
Almost,
well,
you
no
know?
one would be that crazy or Craven. Now, but I think the thing is like this movie. If you're 5 years old, you get it.
Yeah.
If you're 55 years old, you get it, and you can still enjoy it either way. It's like boy finds magic scarab, scarab turns him into superhero. You know?
I've seen a lot of descriptions in the comments of people being like, "Oh, it looks fun. It looks like a mix of Iron Man meets Ant Man meets."
With some Transformers, maybe in there?
yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of interesting. Another public bus gets destroyed. What is
my
wrong?
God. Somebody
The comic
protect
book
the
movies-
buses.
What did these buses do to these comic book movie creators?
I don't know.
Make them.
We need more public transit infrastructure in our
Also,
cities.
How many have been sliced in half? I mean,
know.
we saw
More
one
than
get sliced in half one way in Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
Yep.
Then now we're seeing one get sliced like a hot dog. Bun.
And there was some...
Shang-Chi did it.
Yeah,
Shang-Chi
well, that was
crashed
like
the
a
bus, yeah.
multi-segment
Right,
bus,
it got
right?
broken
And
up.
it got cut at the
sliced.
segment.
Yeah,
That's right.
so it's a lot of buses.
We did get our first look at the villain of this film.
Yeah.
They're going with same powers as the hero, but different suit. We're
back at origin movies.
Little tough. This is the Indestructible Man.
I'm not in this movie.
Tommy, I apologize. There's another Indestructible Man out there. This one is fictional. His first name's
Conrad Carapax.
Carapax.
Oh.
Conrad, the old
The
comic
old
trope.
Conrad Carapax.
The old the comic book trope of alliteration. You love to see it.
Also, I like Carapax. It's kind of like carapace, which is like, isn't that kind of like
Right.
a suit of armor for an
Yes.
animal
Right,
or something
right,
like that? Yeah.
But my thing is, if you can build this suit, why do we need the Blue Beetle? I don't know. Why are we so angry about
I
it?
assume there's an element where you need the voice that helps control. I think it's going to be the bond between the two of them, like symbiotic.
They
right?
did-
It has a name, right? And sometimes like Kai.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not going to pretend to pronounce it, but it was Becky G.
But
is the voice.
that's the-
the
It
voice
is?
of the, yeah.
Becky G, Carol G, the real G's, baby.
What
remember
I
Becky
that
G. That's all I know.
Yeah.
what I like is that
Carol
we have
G.
Sholo, who's actually good at martial arts in a practical suit,
Yeah.
versus a big hulking indestructible man. So we're gonna get to see like ingenuity and thinking and smarts. And I always I'm a Spider-Man guy, so I always like when the hero's actually doing the movement and he takes out the bigger hulking
And I gotta
juggernaut.
say, it looks good
He looks
in this
great.
trailer.
So
man,
good.
I think part of that is like lighting design. Like it's a lot of darker scenes. And he's kind of got some neon flair to
Yeah,
him.
the neon.
So like it just looks good in the light. I think that's often tougher to do the CGI when it's like brightly lit. And yeah, maybe it's more practical than normal, or they did a great job. It looks really good.
Yeah.
The movie also looks very expensive, which sounds like a weird thing to say, but it's helping. Like the movie looks finished, it looks polished,
Yeah.
it looks done, which I really like.
And we should say like cool that most of the characters are non-white,
Yeah.
right? Like including villains, right? Like the accent on Indestructible Man, right, denotes that, and I think that's cool. Also, whatever is going on with George Lopez's beard and haircut is insane, and I love it.
Grandma gets to wield a large weapon, it
Yeah.
appears, which will be a lot of fun.
And we know from the first trailer, Big Belly Burger, famously from the CW shows, and I'm sure the comics as well, the Arrowverse, live and well because they eat from a Big Belly Burger. And so that's the
it
bag
exists.
he
Yeah, yeah.
takes
The little box
scarab
he has the
home
scarab
in.
in.
I'm excited, guys. I gotta say, I think it's great cast. And it looks good, like you said. The Ally Banking product placement, very crisp at the beginning of the trailer.
Saw that.
You know, I'm always thinking about Ally Banking. Not a member, never going to have an account there. Love them to sponsor the show, though. Ally Banking, come on the break room.
Come on the show, you cowards.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching The Break Room. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitch. Enter to win a Hopsco bike by clicking the link In this video's description, check out our awesome merch at nerdriot.shop. And most importantly, keep it Gucci to Moochie, everybody.
Hey.